Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Lord Premanande, Haribo.
You can start Namaste Narsiya. Namaste Narsiya if you want to sing.
Sing?
Ask him. You play.
I play and he sings.
Namaste Narsiya you want to sing or you want to play? Whatever you want.
Sing. I don't know on harmonium.
What? Anything.
Maybe someone knows.
Anything. So we'll be chanting now Namaste Narsinghaya. Whatever, whoever.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Gaurav Bansal family.
जय जय। श्री राधा गोविंद देव की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। Welcome to Shri Radha Govinda Mandir. So today we will continue Today's sponsors are Gaurav Bansal and family, Rajesh Gulab and family, Gopi family, Abhay Wadwa family, Amish and Manish Patel family. And of course, we have Saraswati Mata also, who sponsored yesterday. And she's been helping every event. And a lot of people are here. I'm very happy. We'll continue with whatever we were discussing. Yesterday, we took a very wonderful verse, and I will repeat it so that you understand, and it's all about Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's okay? All right. So yesterday we had a very melodious verse, and it goes like this. Ado Devaki Devi Garbha Jananam Gopi Gruhe Vardhanam Maya Putan Jivitapharanam Govardhano Dharanam Kansachedana Kaurava Vihananam Kaunteya Satpalanam Etad Bhagavatam Purana Kathitam Shri Krishna Leelamrutam. So far we have heard Prabhupada's Leelamrutam, Sri Chaitanya Leelamrutam, and we are right now going through Krishna Leelamrutam. So thanks for joining, and let's get some blessings from Guru Parampara. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavausha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsham. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopishe Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। As Krishna instructed us, he says, जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेतु सोऽर्जुनम्। जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुनम्। He says, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. What a wonderful advice that he is giving us. We don't want to come back to this material world and work 9 to 5, worry about family, birth, death, old age and disease. That's why he's just suggesting one thing. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. What is that eternal abode? He also explained, Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Once you go there, then you don't have to come back in this material world. So, in order to understand his activities and especially his appearances, let's spend some time today to understand that. So here in Srimad Bhagavatam it says that the first Karanodakshaya Vishnu, the Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in Mahat Tattva, he entered in each of them as a second Purusha, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then in every living entity as a Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Also, these are known as a Purush Avatar, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. From the navel of Lord Brahma, from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Lord Brahma appeared, and those are known as Gunavatar. Brahma became the engineer of the universe and created this world. Vishnu became the maintainer of this universe, and Lord Shiva in charge of the mode of ignorance and darkness for the destructions of this world. So these are based on the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So those expansions are known as a Gunavatar. And there are some Lila avatar, Matsyam Kurmam Varaham Chanarasi Chavamanam, Ramam 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 Krishnam Buddham Kalkim Namamyaham. So, very prominent incarnations such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Ram, and Narasimha, Vamana, and many others. These incarnations are called Lila avatar. And then there are Manvantara avatar, in which there is Swayambhu Manu, Swaro Chisa Manu, Uttama Manu, Tamas Manu, Raivat Manu, Chakshusha Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, Savarni Manu, Daksha Savarni Manu, Brahma Savarni Manu, Dharma Savarni Manu, Rudra Savarni Manu, Deva Savarni Manu, and Indra Savarni Manu. So these are the Manus or Manvantara avatar. And then there are Yuga avatar. Then there are the Yuga avatars or incarnations of millennia. The Yugas are known as the Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The incarnations of each Yugas are of different color. The colors are white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dwapar Yuga, Lord Krishna in the black color appeared, and in the Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya in yellow color appeared. So these are the Yuga avatars. So this is just the beginning. But in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned which way we will read it. And these are the verses. So let's read those verses which explains all these expansions of expansions and different incarnations basically and then ultimately in the ultimate sense. Rupam sajjagruhe matsyam Chakshusodadi samplave Navyaropya mahimanyam Padyeva svatam manu Surasuranam udadim Manthatam mandarachalam Dadre kamatharupena Prusta ekadashe vibhu Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatammayim Uddarishanupadatta Yagnesha saukaram vapu Chaturdasham narasiham Bibradaitendra murjitam Dadara kalajairura Evam kam katakrit yatha Panchadasham bhamanam kam Krutva gadadvaram bale Padatrayam yachamana Pratyaditsu tripistamam Avutare shurasheme Pashyan brahmadruon rupam Tri saptakrutta kupito Nikshatram karon mahi Naradetvatvamapannam Surakara chikirshaya Samudra nigrahadini Chakre viryanataparam Ekona vinshe vishutmitem Vishnu Shuprapya janmani Rama Krishna vityai bhuvo Bhagavan Arata Bharam Tadakalo Sampravrutte Sammohaya Sudvishitam Buddho Namna Anjana Sutah Kikateshu Bhavishyati Athaso Yuga Sandhyayam Darasyu Prayeshu Rajasu Janita Vishnu Yasasyo Namnam Kalkir Jagatpati. Very wonderful, very beautiful. Only thing, even I don't understand, and I cannot make you understand about this. And that's why we have to always take shelter of Srila Prabhupada wherever we stop. So, I learn about this particular expansions and incarnations, and it created me little interest to know more and more and more and more about all these things. And credit goes to Srila Prabhupada. I used to visit 55th Street Temple, and like mentioned before also, the Pujari was so kind that whatever I want to hear, he will put that tape. And when I heard this particular about incarnations of Lord Sri Krishna, I always used to request him and he will play for me. Srila Prabhupada will sing, I will listen, and now I know all about this. And I want you to know through this particular bhajan that he used to sing in a very grave voice, very wonderful, very touching. And the song goes like this. Pralaya payodhi jale drutvan sivedam vihita vihitra charitamakhedam keshavadruta Meena Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Kshitirahi Viputare Tishtati तब पृष्ठे धरणी धारण किन चक्र गरिष्ठे केशव द्रुता मीन शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशव द्रुता कुर्म शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वसति दशम शिखरे धणी तब लग्ना शशिनी कलंक कलेवनी मग्ना केशव द्रुता शुकर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. Follow the sequence and try to understand. This first three incarnation has something to do with the water. Meena Sharira in form of a Matsya, fish, and the Kurma Sharira also in the water. And when he came as Shukara Rupa, that time also he's fighting with Hiranyaksha in a water. And finally every single day we actually, practically 3 times a day, we are chanting this particular mantra which is in this particular song. तव कर कमल वरे नखाम अद्भुत शृंगा दालित हिरण्य कशिपु तनु भृंगा तब कर कमल वरे नखाम अद्भुत शृंगा दालित हिरण्य कशिपु तनुभृंगम केशवद्रुता नरहरि रूपा केशवद्रुता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे चलयसि विक्रमणे बलिम् अद्भुत वामन पदनख निर्जनित जन पावन केशवद्रुता वामन रूपा केशवद्रुता वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुधिर मय जगतपगत पापम स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम केशवद्रुता भृगुपति रूपा केशवद्रुता भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वितरसि दीक्षुरणे दिक्पति कमनीयम् दशमुख मौलि बलिं रमणीयम् केशवद्रुता राम शरीरा केशवद्रुता राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वह शिवपुषि विशुदे वसंजल दाभम हलहति बिति मिलित यमुनाभम केशवद्रुता हलधर रूपा केशवद्रुता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे निंदसि यज्ञविदेरः श्रुतिजातम् सदय हृदय दर्शित पशु घातम् केशवद्रूता बुद्धशरीरा केशवद्रूता बुद्धशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे म्लेच्छ निवीह निधन कलयसी करवालम धूमके तुमैव किमपि करालम केशवद्रूता कल्कि शरीरा केशवद्रूता कल्कि शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्री जयदेव कवेरिदमुदितम् उदारम् शृणु सुखदं शुभदं भवसारम् श्री जयदेव कवेरिदमुदितम् उदारम् शृणु सुखदं शुभदं भवसारम् केशवद्रूता दशविधरूपा केशवद्रूता दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे Every word that I was singing, it reminded me Srila Prabhupada and his melodious, ringing voice. And I used to become a little emotional. So I could not sing properly. Sorry about that. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Shiva. O Lord of universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a fish, all glory is to you. You easily acted as a boat in the form of a giant fish, just to give protection to the Vedas, which had become immersed in the turbulent sea of devastation. So if you go to 8th canto, we can always come back and read these particular pastimes. That why the Supreme Personality of Godhead Lord had to come in the form of a fish and then rescue the king. And you easily acted as a boat in the form of a giant fish just to give protection to Vedas. And then Kurma Sharira. Okay, sure. O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a tortoise, all good is to you. In this incarnation, as a divine tortoise, the great Mandara mountain rests upon your gigantic back as a pure for churning the ocean of milk. From rolling up the huge mountain, a large scars-like depression is put in your back, which has become most glorious. And then we go to the third incarnation, which is Varaha. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a boat, all good is to you. The earth which had become immersed in the Garbhodakshai ocean at the bottom of the universe sit fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the moon. And then again, we are familiar with this Narasimha Deva. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of half man and half lion. All glories to you, just as one can easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails, so in the same way, the body of the wasp-type demon Hiranyakashipu has been ripped apart by wonderful pointed nails on your beautiful lotus hands. And why he did it? He wanted to rescue the devotee. If the devotee is in trouble, Krishna personally comes and helps. So this is such a wonderful, consolating pastime of Lord Sri Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj was harassed by his own father, and that's why Lord had to come here in the form of half man and half lion. I use the word Prahlad Maharaj. I tried to explain before also that Maharaj in ISKCON is usually used for a sannyasi, and people think that's the limit of it. We are very handful actually. World's population is billions of people, and they counted just last week. I had a phone call from India, and they said there are only 1 lakh of initiated devotees. 1 lakh is nothing compared to the billions and zillions of people on this earth. So we are very limited, and we have very limited vision also, very limited understanding also. In other sampradayas, the Maharaj, any Brahmin can be called as a Maharaj. Any person who is performing karmakana ritualistic activities is known as a Maharaj. In my home, we used to call Maharaj a cook who used to cook for 30 people first thing in the morning as a breakfast, lunch, supper, dinner, snacks, right? He had his own kingdom, huge big kitchen, huge big storage, a lot of people working under him, chopping the vegetables and these and that, right? He was the master of his own department, and that's why he was known as a Maharaj. And also, the royal family, the kings are also be addressed as Maharaj, Sayaji Rao Thakur, something like that. So the thing is that this particular word doesn't have a limited meaning, right? Prahlad Maharaj never wore sannyasi, he never had a danda, three danda, all that, but still we call him Maharaj. Another meaning is, the Maharaj is a person who deserves madhuparka. What is a madhuparka? It's a mixture of yogurt, honey, sugar and clarified butter. They put these 4 things together, and in a silver bowl or golden bowl, they offer it to the guest or dignitaries or richest person or the royal family person or anybody, the big writer or singer or artist, whoever it is. But you have to go to that stage where you are entitled for madhuparka. That's the Maharaj. So that's why we call Prahlad Maharaj. Now, next is Vaman Avatar. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana, all glories to you, O wonderful dwarf. By your massive steps, you deceive King Bali, and by Ganges water that had emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this material world. And then comes Bhrugupati. The next 3 you have to pay attention, because Matsyam Kurmam Baraham Cha Narasya Cha Vamanam. This is the only half part of the verse. And then it says, Ramam 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 Krishnam Buddham Kalkim Namamyaham. Right? So what is the Ramam Ramam Ramam? Yeah? You forget what is 3 times Ram. Why 3 times? Did he came as a Ram 3 times? No. The first time is a Parshuram. That's the first incarnation. Parshuram is also Ram. In short, we call him Ram, but he's Parshuram. And then Sitaram is the second one. We call him Ram, but he is actually Ramachandra Sitaram. And the third is Balaram. We also call him Balaram or Ram, but you have to know that that is the next incarnation. So the first incarnation of Ram is O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Bhrigupati, Parshuram, all good is to you. At Kurukshetra, you bathed the earth in the rivers of blood. From the bodies of the demonic Kshatriyas that you had slain, the sins of the world are washed away by you. And because of you, people are relieved from the blazing fire of material existence. That was the mission of Bhrigupati Parshuram. Now it comes Ramachandra. The beauty of this is that everyone have a different way of worshipping. So whenever you know more about these personalities, then right away as soon as you hear the word Ram, for example, right away beautiful verses come in your mind so that you can pray them. For example, for Ramachandra, we sing Ramo Rajmani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vijaya Jaya Parabhanam Ramaya Tasmai Namah Ramatmasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Daswasmiham Rama Chittalayam Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Ram Mudharam. I can sing for all this Matsyam Kurmam Baram Narsi Chivamanam Balaram Krishna Buddha Kalki, everyone. We don't have time, today is already here, 6th day. Tomorrow will be the last day. And I ask everyone to be present exactly at this time, about 1:45, because tomorrow we will be just speaking from 1 to 1:45. After that we will be offering some prasadam to Srimad Bhagavatam. After that we will be singing the arti and offer the full arti to Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are listening home are invited here. You don't have to be sponsored for this arti. It's very auspicious to offer arti to Srimad Bhagavatam. God comes so many ways. One of the forms is a Nam, a Rupa. He comes as a Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. His name, Keshava, Madhava, Narayan, Govind, whatever you call him. But in the form of a name he comes, that is one part. Anubhavatmak, just like the rays of the sun fall in our body, we don't look for that. Just like air around us, you breathe it, we don't have to look for that. You experience it, right? Without knowing or unknowing, you are in touch with that. Similarly, God can be experienced because He is scattered all over this, every part of this universe. So that's Anubhavatmak, one something that you can experience. And then He comes in the form of Drashtatmaka. Drashta means you can see Him. How can you see Him? Look at the deity of Srila Prabhupada. Look at the deity of Shri Radha Govinda. You can see them, right? So that is a deity form. And then the most wonderful form is Vangmaya Swarupa. Vangmaya is coming in form of the words and letters and paper and pen and all that, right? Book, scripture. Once it comes in a form of scripture, that's the final form that God has taken. And that's what we are trying to present you. So, it's very auspicious to offer Krishna in the form of a scripture, because it includes this form that you experience, form that you see, form that you chant, and form that you read from or understand from. So please come and join us. There is no any charge for that. You don't have to pay anything. And then whatever we offer, we will share as a prasadam. But tomorrow will be the last day. I feel very, very sorry. And I promise you won't see me for a long, long time, because this time I was just rushing to present the Bhagavad Gita. I read, although I read it many times before, but this time when I was reading Bhagavatam, I got excited. And it says that you must read Bhagavatam, you must preach Bhagavatam, you must put Bhagavatam on the shelf, and then let the congregation get it in their home. This activity must be done according to Prabhupada and according to Srimad Bhagavatam, according to Vedavyas, that Pitrupaksh is the time. I don't care what people present in front of you, what kind of conclusion they produce. But if you go to 12th canto, chapter 13, text number 3, it uses the word, the time for presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, for the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, and whatever you have to do with the Bhagavatam, the subject especially of the Bhagavatam. These are the words used in text 3, canto 12, chapter 13. So I am not lying. There are so many verses where you can relate and come up with the idea that, oh, I know now what the subject, this is the subject. Oh, I know what is the purpose, this is, oh, I know what was the intention, I know. No, these words are used only in text 3, canto 2, chapter number 13. And also, if you go to text number 13, it tells you the time of it, right? That the sun has to be in Leo. That's his exalted position, most auspicious position, astrologically relates to Srimad Bhagavatam. And I say, oh my God, the Baladev appearance passed, Janmashtami passed, Radhashtami passed, and within couple of days only, this sun is going to be in Leo. What am I going to do? Should I skip? If I skip, I have to wait one more year. And that is why, without much preparation, without notifying you or having proper permission, we just started reading Srimad Bhagavatam. There was no other selfish motive behind it, and I apologize. Very few people could understand our intention. Very few people came forward. But all of you can come tomorrow and offer Aarti. All our sponsors are invited to take prasadam after that. Tomorrow will be the last day. What I mean the last day is till Bhadra Paksh is still there. The time related to the Bhagavatam is going to last for the whole month of Bhadra Paksha. So until then, you please be in touch with us, and if you want to listen Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramayana, any scripture will be there to satisfy your quench. Now we go to Ramachandra. O Keshav, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Ramachandra, all good is to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroyed the 10-headed demon Ravana and distributed his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them who were much harassed by this monster. And then Lord Sri Balaram. And he says, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Balaram, the wielder of plough, all glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments, the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Yamuna, who feels great fear due to striking of your plowshare. Now comes the Buddha avatar, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Buddha. All glories to you, O Buddha of compassionate heart. You decry the slaughtering of poor animals performed according to the rules of the Vedic sacrifices. And Kalki, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Kalki, all glories to you. You appear like a comet and carry a terrifying sword for bringing about annihilation of wicked barbarian man at the end of the Kali Yuga. O Lord Krishna, I offer obeisances unto you, who appear in the form of these 10 incarnations, in the form of Matsya. You rescue the Vedas, and as Kurma, you bear Mandar mountain on your back. As Varaha, you lift the earth with your tusk, and in the form of Narsimha, you tear open the chest of Daitya Hiranyakashipu. In the form of Vamana, you trick the Daitya king Bali by asking him for only 3 steps of land, and then you take away the whole universe from him by expanding your steps. As a Parshuram, you slay all of the wicked Kshatriya, and as the Ramachandra, you conquered the Rakshasa, King Ravana. In the form of the Balaram, you carry a plough with which you subdue the wicked and draw towards you the river Yamuna. As Lord Buddha, you show the compassion towards all the living beings suffering in this world. And at the end of Kali Yuga, you appear as Kalki to bewilder the mrichas, degraded low-class men. And still we have to learn about the incarnations as Sanat Kumar, Narada, Naranarayan, Kapila, Dattatra, Yagna, Vrishabhadev, Prithu, Dhanvantari, Mohini, Vyas, Dhar, and Manu, etc. So we will continue with that. And the first one in that is Saeva Pratham Deva Sargamashrita Chachara Duscharam Brahma Brahmacharyam Akhanditam Saeva Prathamam Deva Kaumaram Sargamashritaha Chachara Duscharam Brahma Brahmacharyam Akhanditam. So it says, first of all, in the beginning of creation there were the 4 unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who being situated in the vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for the realization of the absolute truth. So, this is very, very important, the 4 Kumaras. And then we will be also reading about the sages and Devarshis, Saptarshis, that kind of personalities who come in this material world. In the millennium of Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narada who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected exposition of the Vedas which deal with the devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive actions. So again, this is a very, very beautiful verse we must not miss. And the thing is that if I find I can show you the importance of these sages and learn something about the sages. And that is in Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter and verse number 13, Lord Shri Krishna says, Param Brahma Param Dhamam Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Ahu Swam Rushas Sarve Devarshi Naradastatha. So there is a Rushi word, Rushya Sarve, and that is also a word, Devarshi. So here, there is a little history about it in Vayu Purana, and he says, Rushetyesha gato dhatu shruto satye tapasyatha etam sanniyatam yasmin brahmana sa rushi smrutam. Vayu Purana was not translated by Srila Prabhupada, but he gives us the essence of that Vayu Purana, which we should know. Brahma, the creator, has given the title of Rushi to him who definitely combines in himself knowledge, hearing, truth, and virtues like austerity, truthfulness, purity, compassion, etc. So combination of all these qualities is known as Rushi in Sanskrit language. When you combine in yourself the knowledge, right, the ultimate knowledge, and hearing the truth through the scriptures, and you develop the virtues like truthfulness, purity, compassion, etc., then only you could be called as Rushi. But there are so many. For example, in Naimisharanya, when we read Ekada Naimisharanya Rusheshwan Kava Praparshur Munaya Sarve Sutam Pauranikam Khalu. Rushya Sarve. Who are those? There were 88,000 of sages, but they were like this. We defined right in front of you. The Brahmaji called them Rushi. You cannot just take a right title that I am a Rushi. No. That's not your title. Name could be anything. You can call yourself Narad Rushi. But if you really want to be Rushi in a real sense, then you must develop this criteria, this wonderful qualities in you. Then you become a Rushi. Now, what is a Devarshi? There is a big difference, and we can go over, we don't have much time, but at least go over Rushi and Devarshi. There is a difference between Rushi and Rajarshi. There is a difference between Rushi and Maharshi. There is a difference between Rushi and Brahma Rushi. There is a difference between Rushi and Devarshi. And there is a difference between Rushi and Saptarshi. They are all known as sages. But there are so many categories. So, here in Mahabharata it says, Mahabharata was not translated by Srila Prabhupada, but he is giving us Bhagavad Gita from that. And time to time, whatever portions of Mahabharata came in Srimad Bhagavatam, he specifically tried to inject Mahabharata into it. So let's take advantage of that. And he says, Devaloka pratisthascha Gneya Devarshaya Shubha Devarshaya Tathanye Chatesham Vakshami Lakshanam. What is that? Though there have been more than one person bearing the name of Narada Rishi. There is not only one Narada, just like there is a name Robert. If you go in subway and say, Robert, then you will find 10 Roberts coming from the subway car. If you scream, Michael, then 50 Michael will come from the subway car, right? Very common. Mr. Smith, 200 people will come to you, right? And if you go to New Jersey and call, Mr. Patel, the whole New Jersey will come out, right? So Patel is such a common name. So here it says, though there have been more than one person bearing the name of Narada, history records no two Devarshi Narada of the same name. There may be so many Narada Rishi, but Devarshi Narada is the only one and one. Devarshi Narada. Yes, there are many Devarshi, but Devarshi Narada that's used here in Bhagavat Gita, Ausmam Risha Sarve Devarshi Narada, that Devarshi is only one and one. That's it. There is no other Narada who inspired Prahlad Maharaj, who inspired Dhruv Maharaj, who inspired Ambarish Maharaj, and even instructed Maharshi Vyasadeva. So, who are those Devarshis? So here it says, Devarshi Dharmaputro Nar Narayan Bhuo Valakhilya Krato Putra Kardam Pulahastu Parvato Naradaschaiva Kashyapasvat Javubo Rushyanti Devani Asmate Tasmad Rushya Smruta. Now please bear in mind, this may not be there in one of these books that you are reading, but there is no Mayavad here. These are the bunch of names only. So don't worry about it. People are always worried where you get this from, right? Who translated it? But no, these are the bunch of names in order to make you understand that how many Devarshis are around. It's not only Maharshi or Devarshi Narada Rishi. First of all, it begins with Nar and Narayan. Kratuputro, Valakhilya, Kardama, Pulaputra, Parvata, Narada, Kashyapaputra, Asit, and Vatsara. Those who can exercise control even over celestial are called Devarshi. They can control the celestial personality, any Gandharva or any Apsara or even Indra or anybody. Once the Devarshi goes there, they will have to bow down. They have to pay respect. Although they are in the same body as you and me, doesn't matter. When they go up in the heaven, everybody bow down. That is what it is. That those who can exercise control even over celestials are called Devarshi. So maybe, we are, for the understanding of Devarshi, and especially Narada, because that's the incarnation of God, we have to know a little bit about it. And that's what we did. Now, next it says, in the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nar and Narayan, the twin sons of wife of King Dharma. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost. Now he goes further to explain remaining expansions. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Ansuya, who played for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendental to Alarka, Prahlad, and other Yadu, Hiyaya, etc. So, this is a very beautiful and well-known incarnation. There is a whole canto on this thing. If you go to 11th canto and read, this incarnation is mentioned, not only, but its preaching is uncomparable. You cannot compare his preaching with any other preacher. He had 52 spiritual masters, dogs and cats and prostitutes and anything that he came across, he used to take lesson from. And is known as Dattatreya. The Lord incarnated himself as a Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atri and Ansuya. The history of the birds of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in Brahmanda Purana. In connection with the story of the devoted wife, it is said there that Ansuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before the Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva as follow. My lords, if you are pleased with me, and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. This was accepted by the lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit soul and specially instructed Alarka, Prahlada, Yadu, and Hayaya, etc. So any of this incarnation have great stories behind it. And what happened, why happened, these are wonderful. How they became, like here he says, say that you become my son, become my children, right? A woman is asking God to become the children. And by the potency of her chaste status, she was actually turned God into children. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh came asking for some alms from this lady. And when lady wanted to give something, they said, no, we have condition. They wanted to test her. So that we have condition. That person wearing clothes cannot give us the alms. We will not accept the alms from the person if he or she is wearing clothes. Now can you believe what must be the answer? So the lady says, Ansuya came up with the answer. Husband is not home, right? She cannot take the clothes off anyway. So she says, okay, all of you become children. And they became little tiny children. Now in the front of the children who are like their own children, the mother can always take off the clothes, no problem. And when they become children, God realized that, oh my God, she is smarter than what we thought. And she is not only chaste, but she is very intelligent, that they turn us into little children. And that combined form is known as the Dattatreya. Now the seventh incarnation was Yagna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi, and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhu Manu and was assisted by demigod such as his own son Yama. So yesterday only we learned about Dharmaraja, that's Yama. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabha, son of King Nabhi, and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. O Brahmana, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. This is the most important incarnation one we should be familiar with, and we are not. That's why let me read purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Before the advent of King Prithu, there was great havoc of maladministration due to the vicious life of the previous king. The father of Maharaj Prithu, the intelligent class of men, namely the sages and the Brahmanas, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but also dethroned the previous king. It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all-around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of the public. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaja Prithu. Real intelligent man or qualified Brahmanas never aspire for political posts. Maharaja Prithu excavated many produce from earth, and thus not only did the citizen become happy to have such a good king, but the complete side of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. So, some of you, I didn't see you yesterday, but we were actually discussing the same point about a good king and a bad king. And for your benefit, I will repeat it. It's a very short one. But what I told yesterday, that there used to be a king who was really very, very bad person and never followed any spiritual injunction, collected a lot of taxes, but the citizens never benefited, and he was just sucking blood out of them. So they convinced the security guard who was guarding him that, my friend, you are a nice guy, we know. You do your job very wonderfully and protect the king. But the king is not behaving. He is a very sinful person. And we know that he is going to go to hell. But after that, but meanwhile we will be really suffering because of the way he is administrating the royal throne. So the security guard said, what do you want me to do? He said, this is for your benefit. If he goes to hell, you will also go to hell. So better to get rid of him. See, this is what dethroning is coming here. Prabhupada writes that if the king is not doing his job, you have to dethrone. And that is why we are not only talking about the kings, even a small administrator of a small office, boss, if he is not behaving, it is the duty of the people to dethrone him, to complain about him, to file a petition against him, to get the signature against him and make him out of the office. So this is the message here. So the security guard, what he did, He says, King, enough is enough now. In the palace you lock yourself and you enjoy among all this women, wine and everything, eating and drinking and everything. That's okay. But you should come out. It's a beautiful earth. Look at the beaches and sea and rivers and nice gardens. Let me take you out one day. So this way he pulled out him from the palace, took him to the beach, and he had a nice swim. And as he came and was riding his horse, the guard came from behind, pulled his sword and cut his head. His head fell on one side, his body fell on the other side. Luckily, or unluckily, whatever you call, his body fell where there was gopi chandan. See this? The mud that we are using, gopi chandan. This whole area was actually that kind of mud full of gopi chandan. So the Yamudutas didn't come to him. And when they were forced to bring him, they brought them. Yamaraja says, throw him in the raw hell, where there is a boiling pot. Oil is boiling, and just like they are frying this deep fry for the French fries, they throw the person in that boiling pan. They did that. Nothing happened. The king was still laughing. Nothing was touching. And then Yamaraja went to Krishna and says, what is happening? So he says, everything is universe is spiritual. And even the oil knows that we should not be touching the body of king because he has a gopi chandan all over his body. All his body was marked with gopi chandan. So he says, you cannot touch him. This is the importance of putting this tilak all over our body. Keshavaya Namah, Narayana Namah, Madhavaya Namah, Govinda. We think of Krishna and we decorate our body with 12 places. Prabhupada is so merciful. He wants to save us so that Yamaraja won't touch us. Right? Many people, they say, oh, I don't like to put tilak, You know what I'm doing, I may not look right. I have to travel by subway. I have to work in the office. No. Put the tilak. Follow Prabhupada's advice and just try to follow whatever he says. And that's why even the first day I was chanting, Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam. Whatever he uttered, even hello, how are you, is a mantra. Don't worry. It came from his lotus mouth. So it is a mantra for you. Just follow blindly. Close your eyes and follow him. So, thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as a Kalki, incarnation, and become the son of Vishnu Yashu. At this time, the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. So again, we are coming back to our story that started dethroning the bad royal persons and all that. Here is another foretelling of the advent of Lord Kalki, incarnation of Godhead. He is to appear at conjunction of the two yugas, namely at the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Satya Yuga. The cycle of the four yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali, rotate like the calendar months. The present Kali Yuga lasts 432,000 years, but of which we have passed only 5,000 years of the battle of Kurukshetra and the end of the regime of King Parikshit. So there are 427,000 years balance yet to be finished. Therefore, at the end of this period, the incarnation of Kalki will take place as foretold in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The name of the Father Vishnu Yasha A learned Brahmana and the village Shambhala are also mentioned as above mentioned. All those foretellings will prove to be factual in chronological order, that is the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever is mentioned here is happening and it will happen. That's what it says. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. So Prabhupada said, look at the sea. Can you count the waves of the sea? No. Sometimes when you visit the places like Florida and the motel or hotel right next to the sea, touching the water of the sea, right? Beautiful view. And the whole night you hear the ebb and tide coming and going, waves 18 feet tall, waves are coming and then going back. You know, you hear them coming and going, coming and going. Prabhupada said, just look at those waves. The same speed, the Krishna also comes to this world in order to save the devotees. He said, don't worry. He keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. There is no stoppage for him. So all of the above mentioned incarnation are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the taste. So again, it reminds us the two beautiful verses of Bhagavad Gita. This particular verses, Eti Chanskala Punsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mrudyanti Yuge Yuge. So same Yuge Yuge is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So, in this particular stanza, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is distinguished from other incarnations. He is counted among the avatars incarnation because out of this causeless mercy the Lord descends from his transcendental abode. Avatara means one who descends. All the incarnations of the Lord, including the Lord himself, descends on the different planets, on the material world, as also in different species of life to fulfill particular mission. Sometimes he comes himself and sometimes different plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions or his differentiated portions, directly or indirectly, empowered by him, descend on this material world to execute certain specific functions. So this is explained here, and going back to our verse, Janma karma chame divyam yome veti tattvataha. How will you know this? Through this particular pravachan that we just read, this particular reading. If you miss anything, if you don't remember something, if you don't understand, you can always go back to YouTube and try to see today's lecture and learn about Krishna's coming and going, Janma Karma Meche Divyam, his activities and his incarnations we went through. In Bhagavad Gita also the same way, just like here it says Mrudyanti Yuge Yuge. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says the same thing. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmana srujamyaham परित्राणाय च साधूनां विनायाश्च दुष्कृतं धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. So Krishna boldly and loudly declares that I will come for the devotees to protect them. Yada yadai dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever and wherever there is a decline of religion, I shall be there. And paritranaya sadhunam vinaya duskritam, to rescue my devotees, pure devotees, and to annihilate the crooked. So we all experience the crookedness of this world. Today was a very nice time to go through Krishna's pastimes. Tomorrow is the final day. Exactly about this time, Q2, we will be offering the bhoga to this Vangmaya Swarup, Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we'll be offering the arti. Those who are home, you are all welcome here in this temple, and try to join the arti. We are not asking for any money or anything. It's very auspicious to offer the arti, especially those who sponsor this particular Saptah should be present. Although it is a weekday, we are sorry, but that was the final day as per the calculation. And again, I invite all of you, please come and join tomorrow for the last day, for the conclusion. Thanks for joining. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, Prabhu, you want to play just 2 minutes or say something or anything you want? Because you are part of this. Shaila?
Bhakta Noel,
Yeah.
he will be doing some instrumental on flute.
What's your name, Prabhu?
Bhakta Noel. Bhakta Noel.
So Prabhuji is going to play wonderful raga just to entertain and to make up remaining couple of minutes. That's it? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
12:30. Tomorrow is the last day of Bhagavat Saptah. So tune in tomorrow 12:30. And thanks to all the sponsors. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.